morning, everyone, and welcome to Business Morning. We're live to you from Lagos. I am Bosin Amafaye. It's Wednesday, the 8th of November. The big news yesterday was that the president presented the 2018 budget. But first, he gave what you call a State of the Nation address. That was a little bit after lunchtime. Then, just as we're packing up to go home, what you can call an overnight, Moody's Investor Services, one of the world's top 3 rating agencies, downgraded Nigeria sovereign issuer ratings to B2, but kept the country's local currency long-term issuer unchanged at Ba1. That's where we started the conversation today. But let's keep that. This is going to form part of the conversation. And what are the very strong words that Moody's Investor Services have for Nigeria, and saying that the oil price shock, the impact of that on Nigeria's financial or balance sheet will take some years to taper off. That's in the news this morning. You don't want to miss that. But first, let's go back to President Buhari's State of the Nation address. The president, of course, says that the country will be dealing with its own homegrown solutions to its problems and being developed locally, and not necessarily as some of those suggestions on how to handle the economy by some multilateral institutions. And of course, Moody's also have some suggestions for Nigeria on how to manage the economy. Yesterday, the president says, well, those suggestions are good, thank you, but no thanks. We will have our own homegrown solutions to our own problems. The president went on to tout the ramping up on agriculture, on oil and gas production, as well as mineral resources, including a massive bitumen deposits in Ondo State, southwest Nigeria, and how this will be brought in to support the massive road infrastructure program under his administration. The president added to the discussion the various pipeline of investments by the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority, the NSIA, via the Sovereign Wealth Fund to support the country's current economic recovery. NSIA has been investing massively not only in agriculture, but in housing, mortgage finance, and other sectors, and the president says this will continue to help the broader economic recovery arrangement. Meantime, the president was unhappy with the weak non-oil revenue that was part of the factors responsible for Moody's investors rating downgrade of Nigeria overnight. That will be part of the discussion today. Moody's says Nigeria's plan to continue to collect more revenue continue to be structurally deficient and has not met the target. Tax to GDP ratio of 6%, one of the lowest in the world, was what the president mentioned yesterday, and that was also contained in the statement later released yesterday by Moody's Investors Services out of the United States. Meantime, the president, and he got a lot of round of applause for the higher World Bank Global Doing Business ranking. A week ago, Nigeria climbed 24 basis points to 145th position, the best ever. Meantime, going forward and backward, the president also says his administration inherited the huge contractor liabilities that are now being cleaned up and will continue to be cleaned up with provisions made in the 2018 budget, and this cleanup may continue for some time. And if you look into the MTEF, you'll find those cleanup program that the Buhari's administration is doing. Meantime, the power sector is very key to energize and power the economy, in particular via renewables. So if you've been following the green bond story, the journey may end in December. Well, that's the planning stage. Then the next journey of the sovereign green bonds will start in December, when the market on Broad Street will see the flotation of the first renewable energy bond by Nigeria, and the first ever in sub-Saharan Africa. Meantime, the president says the budgetary position of his administration will remain reflationary. That's how it's been captioned since 2016, when he packaged the first budget under his administration, and that will be maintained through to 2018. And of course, in 2018, the president fingered a number of projects that will be coming on stream. Mambila project is one of them, that massive power project that's been in the making for nearly 4 decades. The president says that should be coming very quickly in the new year. He also spoke about the social intervention, retaining the budgetary provision of about 500 billion naira. The Feed the School Children program fall under that. The Niger Delta Ministry gets allocation that is higher than previous. That should be something for you to take note of. 53.89 billion is now what will be spent, has been allocated or provisioned for the Niger Delta Ministry in the next appropriation year. What about cleaning up the dirty backyard in the Niger Delta? It's called the Clean Up Ogoni program that the Vice President launched aggressively about a year ago. Now, the president yesterday explained that the assessment of the selected organizations is now on course to determine their competencies. No one is being paid any money yet. The president says the organizations selected to clean up the Niger Delta have done some preliminary work that's now being tested by the various agencies to determine if they are competent enough to clean up our oil base. Let's get some fast facts for you around the budget, and then we'll bring in a panel of discussants for this all through the hour. Let's give you some of the fast facts. You'll know the headline total, 8.614 trillion naira. The exchange rate market will remain very tight. The president suggested that yesterday. 305 to the dollar. Inflation target, 12.4%. That is going to be at variance with what the central bank is looking at, a single-digit inflation in 2018. The Buhari's administration says it's going to be 12.4%. We're going to have days ahead to talk about this. Who do we follow? The Central Bank of Nigeria or the inflationary outlook from the fiscal authorities? The real GDP estimate, 3.5% yesterday. Oil production estimate, 2.3 million barrels per day. That's just about 100,000 barrels per day above where we currently sit. Oil price target, $45 a barrel. That seems reasonable.